Joe, I am so excited to talk to you today. You have been such a pleasure of a client to have. Um, if you want to just quickly introduce yourself, I am excited to share your story with people because you are proof that you don't need to be a business coach or in the business niche, teaching people how to grow a business to make money online. So, um, I'm just so excited because you had so many things to overcome, so many things to learn, and you've just been thriving and had a positive attitude through it all. So why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself and then we'll get into it.
Thanks, Angelica. Yeah, no, I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm in leadership development, and I became a coach about 3 years ago, but was looking for how I could, make money on my certification, how I could, have a more thriving business. I was using it inside my day job, but I wanted to expand. And I just really was singing the song that so many new coaches sing, which is, how do I get clients? Mm-hmm. And I had started my business, and I had about 4 or 5 months before I met you. And I had some, baseline things kind of happening. I had a Facebook group, and I had a few things like an email identity, but I was so stuck in the whole marketing aspect of it. And that's when I found you. And I still remember when we talked on the phone, I think it was last June or July, and you just really helped me see how to put all the pieces together. Mm-hmm. When I came to you, I was trying to grow the size of my group, but I wasn't doing it in an effective way. I was running ads, but
you were not running ads.
I was spending a lot of money on Facebook. I sure was. But
Guys, you didn't even have a pixel.
Yeah, it wasn't a knowledgeable ad strategy. I was kind of following some guidance from other business coaches that weren't mentoring me all the way through. And so I was trying to hack away on my own to create, through their guidance or their mentorship, and their instruction, how to make ads. But Facebook changes all the time. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really know what I was doing. And so I was creating different, Facebook will say yes, they'll take your money. And it just, it wasn't very encouraging. I felt like I had this dream, and I had this training, and I had hope, but that was rapidly sort of getting submerged in overwhelm. Mm-hmm. And feeling like out of my element, and just sort of like a babe in the woods. Like I had no idea what I was doing, and I was feeling really discouraged. I was spending a lot of money and not getting very much result.
And talk about, remember how afraid you were to invest in business coaching? One, because you were just convinced Facebook ads don't work. Yep. And this is before I even looked at your ad account, before we started working together. I assured you, you're doing something wrong. I didn't even know that you didn't have a pixel, that things were not set up properly. But I know how it works. So remember our conversation, you had so much fear about investing in business coaching and really believing, A, that it would work, and B, that ads would work for you, and that marketing would actually work for you. So talk a little bit about that and how you overcame that.
Well, I think it was your gentle vision and guidance. It was kind of like you came alongside of me and said, I know how to do this, and it works. And I knew you were speaking the truth because you have so much experience. It's sort of a leap, I think, for us when we're feeling so vulnerable to know that maybe it really could work for us. Your ego gets attached and your fear gets activated, and you think, but what if I fail, but I was already failing. So I think you helped me see that I could only do better than I was doing at that moment, because I didn't have a strategy. I didn't have the know-how. I wasn't currently being mentored by anyone. I had finished a different coaching program to build my business, and I was just out on my own, floundering.
Mhm.
So I think I felt really stung by how much money I was spending on Facebook and just didn't have the faith that it could be true for me because it seemed like it wasn't working. You just kept saying, well, you don't even know what you're doing. So how could it work? I think you were cajoling and convincing in a really encouraging way.
Yeah, and think about that first conversation like last June and how much we have accomplished and learned, how much you
Yeah,
have learned working with me. I mean, what you know today is like mind-blowing compared to what you knew back before you met me about marketing, correct?
absolutely. But I also want to say, and I didn't have to learn everything. Like I was trying to figure it out all on my own.
Right.
And I mean, trying to figure out my audience and my ad sets and my budgets. And I mean, there were so many decisions to make when you're setting up a Facebook ad campaign that just one of those being sort of off could break the entire campaign,
Mhm.
or get me a really poor result. And I didn't really have to go learn how to be a marketing manager for myself because you did that for me.
Right.
You really could see quickly. It was like having somebody come in and go, oh, this is all messed up, and clean this and move that and adjust this. And then sometimes you just take it off my plate in the most welcome way. You know, you'd say, let me work on this for a few hours and then I'll get back to you. And you would just fix things and come up with new ideas that I never could have had. It was you that figured out how to find a better audience. I think my audience was just all wrong and not getting me the right traffic at all.
Right, right. And then remember we also talked about your program, like
Yeah.
we narrowed that down because you were like, do I do one-on-one? Do I do group? Like what are we going to do? What are we going to launch first? And we got clarity on that, and then we tried a webinar funnel, right? And it worked, but you didn't feel good about it,
Right.
right?
Right.
Mhm.
And that's what I really value in you too, is sometimes I would feel like I would hit like these dead ends and think like my energy would start to flag, or I just wasn't feeling um, totally aligned with a certain thing that we were trying. And you would just come up, there were like 18 other things that we could be doing. I would kind of feel like, oh, well, I guess, bummer. And you're like, not bummer. Let's just, pause on that. Try
Mhm.
this. And you have all of these other ideas of ways to make progress, to move forward, to try different avenues. Webinar didn't really work for me energetically. I didn't like it. I didn't, it just, I think I did a fine job at it, but I wasn't loving it. So you
Right.
found a different way for me to stay actively moving forward, which was, I never would have gotten that without you.
And that's what I love about like my coaching program and how I coach is like I have so many different strategies that I know work, and it
Mhm.
all depends on the person. So launches work, webinars work, email launches work. It all works. It's just, does it align with you? How do you feel about it? Are you bringing the right energy to the launch? Because then we switched our strategy and we said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to do like a live launch type of method, which I call a connected launch, where we run ads to build your Facebook group, and then you're committed to going live at a certain time, either once a week or every other day or every day, whatever you decide, and then inviting people to work with you. And
Yeah.
that's what we ended up doing with you. The ads were working amazing. You were getting like dollar leads, which is like mind blown. Um,
Yeah.
I think the most expensive leads were like $5. That's like the highest it ever peaked. I mean, it was
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing the way it was working.
Yeah.
And you were
Can I just say that
mhm,
I want to just stop you there for a second, that for people who don't really know how to manage an ad campaign, I think what I felt so safe in working with you was you were watching for me. Like you were me for me. You were like in my ad manager and basically keeping tabs on what was performing well and like moving things around and turning stuff off if it looked like it wasn't performing well, was going to start costing more money. It was just like I felt like I could relax, that it wasn't all on me to try to suddenly figure out marketing. You were
Mhm.
working through me, like figuring it out. It was such a relief, really.
Yeah, for sure. That's why we're gonna work together forever, Joe.
Well, I want to say too, like to go from getting like really like no traffic at all to waking up every morning with like 10, 20 new requests to join my group was such a thrill. Like it just gave me so much more energy. Even if those people don't end up being my client, it showed me that there was an audience out there for me that was resonating with my message. They wanted to join my group, and it just shifted the morale around for me. You
Mhm.
know, I started to feel like, yes, you know, it felt more exciting and expansive rather than this sort of tearing your hair out feeling of like it's not working, I don't know how to do it.
And remember, how long were you following me before you hired me? Like the average
Oh yeah,
person follows me for months before they hire me. It's
yeah,
not cheap hiring a business coach, and
yep,
especially a good one. So it's an investment. Um,
yeah,
so just think about that.
yeah,
You don't know what the future is going to hold, because as we grow our businesses, as we make offers, we're going to pivot, because your audience is going to require maybe something else than what you were thinking. That's why I'm such a big fan of building an audience, making offers, getting your message out there, because your audience will give you back what they want.
yeah,
And
yep.
something like that happened to you, right? Let's talk about what happened December, January, when you hit your amazing month, and the offers that were coming were very different from what your plan was.
Yeah, you're right. Well, first of all, when I first heard of you, it was Christmas of 2 years ago. And I listened to a webinar, I think, on Christmas break. And it wasn't until like the following June, you and I had a one-on-one call when I signed up to work with you. So it is interesting to see how, like you say, the know, like, trust path goes. It sometimes takes a while for that to happen. And you're a perfect model for that in our relationship, because I got some really good free training from you via your webinar.
Mhm.
And then you also provided some lower cost items that I bought that made
Mhm.
me feel like I could trust you and that you delivered. And it was like warming us up towards being able to work at this one-on-one rate. And that's great modeling for me to see as a business person as well, that you have to trust that there's sort of a ramp.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, when I finally started getting a lot of traffic into my group, I I was just finding finally resonating with certain individuals who really were attracted to the message and wanted to work with me, and started a group program that ended up being so much more fruitful than one-on-one coaching. So, and that's what I'm doing now. So I'm still really loving that. It's going well.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of having different offers in your business. Of course,
Yeah.
a one to many business model is going to
Yeah.
make you the most money. It's the best for your time investment, right? But there's room for one-on-one. There's room for low ticket things as well. Um,
Yeah.
it's really you finding your, like, what really sparks you and gets you excited. Because if you're excited,
Totally.
people get excited. You know.
Totally. And you
So
thought of so many different lead magnets too. Like I just thought there was kind of this one way, but you kept having all of these new ideas of like, well, let's try this. You've already created this together. Let's like put it all into a small package and then attract people in that way. Like you saw things that for sure no way I ever would have thought of or figured out on my own.
well, you've been such a trooper too, like learning what you had to learn, doing the work, showing up, working through the mistakes, being patient, working with me, following my instructions. Like, you really showed up and did the work, and now you're reaping the benefits.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is awesome. So your current group is going through your program now, and you're loving it, huh?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I love it. I love the group program. I created it. It's a standalone thing. I can welcome new people into it. I don't have to create new content.
Mhm.
And you helped me set that part up too, in like setting up like a members only site. That was totally, you gifted me like a way to create that. You helped set it up. Like
Mhm.
the way in which you helped me was so generous and so multifaceted, from like new ideas of how to create new leads or new things to sell or new ways to attract people. Um, just mentoring me through all the different platforms, like from how do you take money, how do you have a member site, how do you email and have like an email server, like all of that was just
Also,
huge.
tightening up your sales calls,
Yes,
right?
yes, right.
Tightening up
Yeah,
your sales call. We've done a lot, Joe.
yeah, we did a lot. We did a
Wow.
lot. I feel like you took me from like, okay, I want to have a business to I have a business.
That's awesome. That makes me so happy. That's why I do what I do, you know?
Yeah, and you're so good at it.
Oh, you just fill my heart with so many butterflies. So does marketing work, Joe?
Marketing does work. You have to be consistent. You can't give up. You've got to try new things.
Yeah,
Um, don't be too emotional about it. Just
that's right.
keep, yeah, keep at it, and have a really good guide. Have a really good person who's behind you and working through you that knows what they're doing.
We did a
Don't
lot of
try to do it alone.
say that again?
Don't try to do it alone.
Oh yeah, yeah. And we did a lot of mindset work too, right?
Yeah,
Where you would vox
yeah,
me and you'd be like, Angelica, blah, 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 blah. And I'd be like, Joe, everything's okay. Everything's as
yeah.
it should be.
Yep. And you also saw, like, I would sit there and like tell you, oh, all these people are asking me for this one thing, and you're like, Joe, do that one thing. That's what, like, just having somebody sort of like see into your blind spots
Like,
was super helpful.
like, if they're asking for that, sell it to them. It's what the
Right.
market wants. Hello, don't you want to make some
Duh.
money?
Right.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so
Yeah.
just to wrap it up, I just love your story so much. So would your
Well, you've
would
been
your
amazing.
would your business be where it is today without me?
No, no, I don't know. I would be a hot mess. Like, I actually wrote down at the end of the year, like all of the things that I learned in 2019 and all of the platforms that I'm now using so capably that I never did before. You know, like my email server and my, my credit card server and my, members only site and my Facebook funnel. And like, there's like 18 different things I've learned how to use, and I'm not overwhelmed because you just guided me through how to hook all that stuff up, and you just made it easy.
Awesome. So I'm excited to work with you on your next launch. And thank you so much for being so wonderful and making my job a joy. And I hope you inspire so many other women to attain freedom and to go after their dreams and build their businesses, despite the fear, despite the overwhelm, and, just to be courageous and go after their dreams. It's so worth it.
It is so worth it.
All right.
Trust.
Trust. That's right.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, Joe. Talk to you later.
Okay. All right. Bye.